right, welcome. Let me get my clock going. Okay, so where are we here? Just how you triple. Here it is. All right, everything is hidden in the way that you wanted. Okay, let's show it. So, what do we have here? We have a Libra, ninth house Libra sun with Neptune rising right on you know around that Aquarius ascendant. So it's very interesting. With Aquarius or Uranus, the ruling planet in the first house. That's very key. The moon is in Sag conjunct Pluto, and Chiron is close by as well. Interesting. Um, North node in Cancer, South node in the 12th in Cap. All right, and then key aspects: Saturn opposite Moon, tough one, especially for a Sag moon, and Jupiter opposes it also, and Sun or Mars squares it, and then lots of nice aspects for the Sun, or easy flowing ones. Mercury square Neptune. Boy, my girlfriend has that, so boy, do I know that one, or what it can be. Mars is squaring Pluto and Chiron. Okay, so basically, you and then you have your Venus, Scorpio with your Mercury. Interesting, and series there too. Um, so first thing, it's like, okay, I just want to say that Libra, your sun trying a sextiles your moon, so that generally speaks to a good relationship between mother and father, at least like their ideologies matching up well, which makes it easier for the child's development. I don't think I've ever seen divorced parents when there's a sextile or a trine, at least in my experience. Not saying it doesn't exist. Um, so usually the parents have like a worldview that's quite similar, and makes it easier for for the kid. And it also means that your feminine, your masculine side, Libra and Sag are both masculine planets. They can work well together, and um, you have air and fire, and then the ascendant you have air. So air, but it has Neptune, so it's like your ascendant it's almost like Aquarius slash Pisces, because Neptune, having an outer planet on the ascendant literally makes that outer planet so strong. And it makes it such a big part of your personality and your ascendant that, yeah, you're an Aquarius rising, but since Neptune, it is linked with Pisces, it's kind of like Pisces slash Aquarius. Um, so all in all, and yeah, and of course Aquarius sextiles. You have a mini grand trine actually, with your big three. So you see it's like Sun sextile Moon, Moon sextile Ascendant slash Neptune. So like your big three are really, really working as a team. Um, which is very good for success. And it just makes it so in general there's less issues trying to balance like energies that don't really work. Aquarius and Sag are both very freedom orientated, and yeah. So having the Neptune rising is very interesting because you are your imagination, your kind of dream life, your spirituality, your compassion, all that. Like Neptune rising people, they have this real kind of, you can feel like you can just look at them and see like the spirit, like the pure soulness, right? Also makes you very, very psychic. Um, and or intuitive, right? But it also makes you, even though there's, not so much water in the chart, you have Venus and Scorpio, um, you know, and your North Node is in Cancer, right? So North Node represents, the karmically, like what you're trying to go towards, like the metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives. So, you're trying in this life to get more in touch with your emotions and with your feminine side. So also with the Neptune rising, it's like trying to take kind of your dream world, your imagination world, your imaginary world, ideals, all that, and superimpose it on onto your lived like experience, into your like personality, into your reality, right? So, um, a big thing with your chart is it's about taking things that are dreams, right, and making form out of them. Because there's a karmic tendency to kind of like self implode, I would say, around in respect to how you might judge yourself. Um, it can definitely be very spiritual too, but when you put those together, I think of the energy of not having like that precise kind of like a spiritual aim, like that real like aim, and in terms of like the truth that you want to subscribe to and live your life based off of, right? We're all trying to explore and find what truth is, right? And people see it in different ways, and it shapes the reality. If you, for example, don't believe in astrology and only believe in science, your reality is going to be a lot different. It's going to affect your emotions. It's going to affect your view of existing in general, everything, right? It could create, so that's really why karmically you have a Sag moon in this lifetime, why you have, Aquarius, Neptune rising, is because you're really meant. I know it sounds like something someone can tell everyone, but you've been too pushed away into the zeitgeist, and there's been kind of like this past life conditioning that you've had. So in this life, there a lot of indicators in your chart are about going deep within yourself, right? Going deep within yourself and finding that authentic self-expression, that authentic like meaning, right? Not where it's like, oh, just because society is, saying I should live my life like this or believe this or that. For you in this life, it's really about just, having your truth, because then your truth goes to your dharma, right? What you do, what you care, what if you are, for example, don't believe in astrology, and you only think, you know, that you're just like that kind of person, it's going to affect the type of careers you would do. It's going to affect your values, right? Like maybe someone like that could be, nihilistic and just want to make a bunch of money, and that's all I care about. But so for you, it's like the ninth house sun, Libra. I don't focus much on sun signs because I'm like, all right, I assume that people know their sun sign. Like I'll say a few things about them in respect to how it relates to the grand puzzle. But the ninth house is your sun, and I think the house placed in the sun is so important. Um, so that's the house of Sagittarius, right? Your moon Sagittarius. So we already see that. I'm gonna turn the camera off a little bit because I like to kind of like close my eyes and get into my zone. Not that I can't do that, but I just don't. I feel like it looks weird. get my crystals. But so we see already. I'm trying my best to like I've been like focusing the last few days, like kind of like thinking like how can I not do 2 hour readings? You know, like how can I say everything I say in those readings, but be more like not that I'm not concentrated. It's like, but like be more kind of, you know, like I know I've done it before and I know I can do it, right? But anyways, okay. So the ninth house is all about your beliefs. So the sun being there and your moon in Sag, it's it goes back to what I was saying about how you're trying to reshape and refine um new beliefs. It could be through traveling to different cultures, through experiencing different philosophies, different worldviews from people like myself, or maybe someone who's like completely, a different kind of like a spiritual worldview, just anything, right? It doesn't even have to be spiritual, just like like look like really it's you um about finding your truth and then after that you're able to take that and create that Scorpio 10th house midheaven, right? Which is like that career dharma that's very much based on it's very much based on and you're very young. I must wanna recheck just to make sure. Hold on. Mhm. Yeah. Well, let me get out of here really quick. Okay, let me just check something. But yeah, so it's going into your to you really through your career really wanting to dig deep and to find the mysteries of life and to become obsessed with something that you're deeply passionate about and that you can really also that helps you see deeper into other people and into the world. Okay, so 1 second. Let me get Instagram real quick. But yeah, so that's just like a clue right away, a big clue right away, right? And you know that like I'm all about the blah 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 the like I'm all about seeing the trends in the chart and let's see where you are. Okay, wait, I'm so confused. Oh, that's not you. Some people like change their usernames. What the heck? I legit cannot find you. Um, let's see if I do this. Okay, there you are. Oh, okay, yeah, because you spelled it all differently. Okay. Okay, let's go up. I just want to um make sure beautiful. Okay. I so yeah, you did say that that was the correct. I'm gonna just message you. I don't know if you're awake. Oh, you said I have a Sag moon. Okay, yeah, yeah. So okay, so it is correct. Okay, so I just want to make sure because it would have been a shame if yeah. So everything is good. Okay, cool. So anyways, as I was saying, having the Sag moon with the ninth house sun, you're here to explore, right? You are here to explore. You are here to really challenge past life ideas of what of like get past past life conditioning, past life stuckness, right? Of being of kind of just like going with the what you were told to go with, right? Um, so I think that's kind of what I see. Um, there's also like a karmic tendency to be a little bit too much on like the kind of work hard, like masculine. Like a lot of people that have this like nodal like Cancer, North Cancer, Capricorn nodal axis, like they identify with more like they could have had like a recent gender shift, and I a lot of times they'll tell me like that they feel more like the other gender, but it's clear that you have lots of like more masculine energy, but it's like almost like you're meant to be like that so that you can then take it and and um and like through these explorations dive into your feminine more, right? Um, so yeah, like you are really, really meant to go and do a lot of things and just be different, like Aquarius rising with Neptune on the ascendant, like where's your Chiron? Let me see if it's in something I'd expect. Oh yeah, it's like a conjunct the moon, far out conjunct, but in Sag. Yeah, I mean like I think that you would have been someone who's just very different from, especially Uranus in the first, very different kind of coming up. And I think it would have maybe there's some, I don't want to say trauma, it's a big word, but like, maybe there were some hard times growing up where you were just very much ahead of your age, and you had things you're curious about, interested in that you know were very deep and sometimes Aquarius rising people, Neptune, like are they're just different and they can get made fun of um for their beliefs. And yeah. So then when I see that everything's in the nut, like so yeah, like everything so it's a very Sagittarian um kind of imprint. One quick second. Okay, I am back. Let's go back to share screen. I'm still a ghost. You're not seeing me. Um, so yeah, so basically the energy, you're really being pushed towards that kind of exploration and towards trying to find freedom within yourself, right? Um, there's like a self-sabotaging kind of karmic routine. And I also get a hit that it could be very linked to your family, your bloodline, right? and that there could be like something in the family, like the generational kind of trauma or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be big, but something that you're meant to break. And I say that to a lot of my clients, and I think that I do get a lot of people who are like that. Um, but basically, you know, I don't know how much emotions are spoken about in your family, or just like these different topics that you definitely would be like a black sheep. But there, sometimes it takes that black sheep to kind of break things, and kind of move things forward and get through different types of yeah, to move to kind of break through the curses per se. But you have Saturn moon conjunct Pluto, so that's what Haley has. So but you have Chiron there too. So and it's opposite Saturn, which is very difficult. You're born in 2000. I think you're probably like you're definitely my top five youngest clients. But that's a very hard so Sag Moon, I'm a Sag Moon also. It's all about expansion, right? It's all about learning, it's all about just traveling and freedom, right? It's ultimately there's emotional need for freedom, emotional need for acquiring new wisdom, and whether that's metaphorically or whether that's physically, like being just literally being in a different culture for a Sag Moon uh unconsciously adds to um their understanding of the world and their understanding of reality. Which what I'm saying, like what I've said before, that's like the big undertone of your chart is, well, there's a few, but one of the big ones is really, really, and it's good that you're in this reading when you're young. Um, it is redefining or defining, I guess, what is important, what is truth. Because the slip up could be to kind of like just go with the status quo, right? And that could be something that's happened to you in past lives, which then throws you off your spiritual um kind of journey. So that's the first thing, is fuck what everyone else does or says. you know you're doing you. Now, with that said, I think that a Sag moon, like, it's fire moon, so it's all about action, it's all about spreading your wings, blah blah blah. Opposite Saturn, until your Saturn return, which is around 29 and a half. um you can feel a lot of emotional, um it can make it very hard for you to express yourself emotionally. um it's very likely that your mother moon is usually the mother, but it's not always. It's you know the more dominant, or the more like nurturing parent typically, but it can also just represent nurturing in itself. So Pluto conjunct that can create like a very, very dominant mother. Like that's yours. Yeah, I got two. Yeah, I accidentally ordered two of them, and yeah, cheers. It's a really good book. Okay. Anyways, so basically, the mother. So typically, when that's the case, I literally, Haley's right here doing work with her headphones on. But she has this. So it's interesting that, like, the one reading I've ever done with Haley around has the same. She has the same thing as you. Um, and I'm not gonna, like, go into her life, but let's just say her mother is very. And I know other people with this combination. But she, like, you have the extra Saturn, right? But like, it's an overly domineering mother, right? And basically there can be some kind of codependency stuff going on there. So it really, really kind of propagates what I was saying about the bloodline, and about um the importance of breaking generational curses and trauma. And I don't think you got to follow up. If you want to add one plus the current astrology, that's like nearly everyone does, is they get this reading, they love it, and then they say they add the follow up, which is like an hour where we talk about just the reading. We compare your lived experience with what I said here, because what I have, I I have to look at, obviously, I have to, like, when I was looking at your trying to figure out if you're actually born in 2000. I I had to like go to your profile. I avoid eye contact because if I see your eyes, like I can just read you, and I like to challenge myself. I just was like, okay, does she look like she could be that young? You do. So, and then I went up in our conversations and saw that. But basically, what I'm getting at is that um what can happen is that because there's been this passed on tendency, right? Because and I'll finish actually. Yeah, I'll go that way. Yeah, to finish off, basically, like the follow up is the one it's a 1 hour, and we go it's on Zoom. It's live. We go over everything that was just talked about here. Compare, astrology is the interplay, in my opinion, of free will and the chart. The chart is the deck of cards that you're dealt karmically, um, and that you're dealing with, but then your free will, that's not shown in the chart. You know, that is, two people can have the same chart and be very, very, very different. So nearly everyone adds that unless there's like a financial issue. Um, and then they add the current astrology. And I would give it at a big discount where um instead of it being, I think, like 550 or 530, um I would do it where it would only be um where it would, yeah, it would be, let me think. So it's 3 hours. So it would be, I would do the current for 250, and then 120 for the follow up. So 370 would be the cost for that. But the first hour, yeah, like I said, it's just all about this. We go deeper on anything that I brought that I'm bringing up today, and then the 2 hours after that, we move seamlessly into like everything in current astrology. Uh, but it's not just that. I call it spirit. I call it current astrology slash spiritual alignment, because it goes a lot deeper. I have my two psychology masters, but there's just very synchronistic and beautiful conversations that go past astrology, and it's just like a 3 hour, you know, live Zoom session, and it's not a long wait like this reading was. It's whenever you're ready, my next available time. So usually it's like it could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month maybe at the most, but like, yeah, usually probably say yeah, um, it's it's not a long wait. So yeah, just let me know if you're interested in that. I just want to tell you that that's what most people do. Um, Now continuing. So yeah, with the stuff with the bloodline, I think that uh there is a strong possibility, that the mom is overly protective. There can also be very, very strict parenting, and like a kind of a nurturing that where there was like a lot of intensity and a lot of wounding. And the really hard one, like Pluto, if it was just Pluto conjunct the moon, that's one thing. But the opposition with Saturn, like, oof, I mean, that is like, that's one of the hardest aspects in all of astrology, right? And the reason it's so difficult, especially when it's a fire moon, um, because the Sag moon, especially when it's a Sag moon, because Sag moon wants to spread its wings, it wants to travel, wants to do all these things, and it's very social. But then Saturn has this effect that kind of makes the person doubt themselves, um, which usually comes from maybe like a overly strict, rigid mother. Um, and yeah, and then they tended to kind of feel they can be quite shy, and there can be like some repression when it comes to their emotions, and it can make someone a loner, someone like feel very, very sad. Of course, like I said, with Saturn, everything gets better with age, and especially after Saturn returns. So you'll have a very, very, very karmic Saturn return in 2020, what, 9, I guess, around then. Um, but everything happens for a reason, and I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. I'm just saying that it'll be very, very free. It'll be very freeing. Um, but there could be something of like the family like hanging on to you in too many in like in a unhealthy way. It could be them trying to push you in a direction that's not aligned with your soul and what you really want. Having expectations, but at the end of the day, you know, the moon opposite Saturn, we all want emotional nourishment. We all want to feel love. We all want to feel comfortable within ourselves. Saturn can, you know, push some of that away. Um, and it can be difficult for intimate relationships, and lots of obstacles when it comes to like um, that experience of feeling loved, feeling valued, all that. So yeah, the relationship with the mother is super critical, right? Um, super, super critical to how this would play out. Because like Chiron's there too, so it's like they're like the mother is really where I'm guessing it's the mother. I would assume usually is, but in today's world, and especially since it's the sunshine or sun sextile moon, but when there's divorced parents, sometimes I've noticed that the sun becomes the mom if the moms were involved. Like in my chart, the sun is definitely the mom, Pisces, and then my dad, the is this he's very Sag, he's a Sag rising, and he's my moon. So yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of times there's like themes of like, just being emotionally cold, strict, um, not having been there for you, not having supported you in all your Sagittarian aims. And this is the thing, is that Sagittarius is so optimistic, right? It's like Sag moon sometimes. So this is the big thing, is that Sag moons sometimes, like, we put things to like something bad happens, and it's a trauma or mini trauma, and instead of actually like feeling the emotion and taking it in and really like kind of dealing with it energetically, we just kind of create meaning out of it, which is really, really good, right? I mean, obviously it's really, really good to be able to do that, but um you know to an extreme, it's not good, right? Because then you're not actually dealing with the emotional trauma. So that's just one thing about Saturn in general. But besides that, I think it's like the best moon sign. I mean, that's just my opinion. I go to fuck what anyone thinks. Saturn is the best. Um, and you know, yeah. So I think that the more like emotional support you would have received growing up, the better. Um, so if you had like a mother who like helped you kind of, you know, share your emotions, uh, who was able to do that to you, be a good model, then that's really good. But yeah, if there's a lack of that, there's emotional distance, then yeah, it can be difficult. And it can create someone who has trouble spreading their wings and having fun and letting go. And there can be, Saturn and Moon is linked to depression, right? Any hard aspects with Saturn and the Moon is linked, even when you're in the most happy moon sign or jolly moon sign, Sag, like Sag moons are typically very, very like happy people, and if they get sad, like it doesn't last long, Like I'll get sad, and I'm a fucking Pisces, then like It never lasts. It very rare. I mean, I can get really, really, really sad. Um, but it doesn't last long. I don't ever have periods, right? Unless the moon's in fucking Scorpio. I wish it would just. I just I wish I could hibernate and sleep for 2.5 days every month. The moon's in Scorpio. That would be amazing. And then not have to sleep for, then just be able to sleep 3 hours. That's my wish. That I could sleep 3 hours a night, and then every time the moon's in Scorpio, I could just hibernate for the full time. But of course, uh, I have to confront that. So I actually don't wish that. But anyways, um, yeah. So, oh yeah, fear. So yeah, there can be a big fear like getting close to people. Um, and just yeah, lots of barriers around that. So, overall, it is work and persistence. Like on with Saturn Moon, like you really have to force yourself to be you have to force yourself to be vulnerable. You have to really just like even if it feels weird. And it goes back to your North Node in Cancer. You see, everything in my readings are based on the North Node. In some way. North Node Pluto. Um and then Pluto's conjunct your moon, right? So you are meant with Pluto on your moon, that makes it so you're very, very aware of your shadow, right? Like, it's like, yeah, you're a Sag moon, but it's kind of like being like anyone who's Sag moon conjunct Pluto. It's like, yeah, you're a Sag moon, but it's like Sag slash Pluto kind of, I mean, it's that massive. Pluto is so powerful. Um, so you're very, very emotional, and you're very aware at a young age of kind of the darker side of reality. It could be linked to some trauma, right? Some emotional trauma. But the beauty of a conjunction is that it's a fusing of the two energies. And Moon and Pluto create someone who's extremely determined. Nothing can really bring them down. Like they can get shot down, they get back up. And with all this, I imagine your early life was difficult. Um, and that you've really had to. I mean, you're fucking like what, 20, and you getting a reading from me? Like that is rare. That says something right there. Like like I'm one of the. I'm a deep, deep astrologer. Like I don't like people don't come to me who want like the rose fairy goddess fucking bullshit. I don't know what that is, but I say I give the raw shit. So the fact that you're that evolved already, it shows that. And you might not think that because you have a fucking Mars and Virgo. You might be very, very hard on yourself, very perfectionist. But the point is this: the point is that um, I just had an idea I have to write down. Where's my I lost my calendar. Ibiza, whatever. No, I just need it. I know it's close by. Where are you? Maybe my cat stole it. They like to steal my calendar, so they think I'll spend more time with them. They be crazy. Okay, I found it. So, um, but yeah, so there's like so you've been through it, you know how it is, but that's a further indication of what I've been saying of like the need to break some kind of like there's a chance that your mom when you were born was going through some type of trauma, right? In some cases like that, that you weren't you felt like you weren't wanted as a kid, and you felt underappreciated. Um, so you know, it's really important to understand that, that you're here with uh, Pluto on your moon. You're here to go through the death, rebirth, transformation. You become a Plutonian just with that conjunction, right? And you have eighth house Mars. So it's going to be like very difficult for you to keep friendships with people who are wanting you to return to an older, like less mature version of yourself. You know, like, so if you still live where you grew up, like, it can be awkward when you're really growing a lot, changing your worldview, doing shadow work, all that. Um, and others aren't. Okay, give me a second to write something down. Okay. All right. So aside from that, it gives you lots of emotional power, lots of like kind of psychological, just like you just understand, you can see through people's bullshit. But yeah, it's a really important one. But it can also make someone, yeah, prone to like just a very, very intense emotions, and there can be definitely a proneness to kind of just be kind of thrown around. Like, so it's like your chart's asking you to become very emotionally resilient and strong, right? Um, because there's definitely that option, potential for just being thrown around, tossed around, right? Like it's like the difference between being like a little marble or a little piece of tiny rock where any wind or wave on the beach pushes it over, or being like an immovable boulder, you know? Um, so yeah, lots of drama, and feeling things very, very deeply, and extremes and moods as well. So yeah, but also like your intuition's really, really strong, right? So it's about learning to trust that, right? Learning to trust that intuition, it's a muscle. But what can happen with the opposition of Saturn is that you can have all these gifts, but then told that they're not gifts, which can lead to depression. So the depression, if you're the depression and the real bad feelings that the moon Saturn can bring is is that your emotional nature wants to expand. Saturn is the opposite of that. So it can just be like karmic frustrations, but it's making you work harder and harder and harder. And then by the time the Saturn turn comes around, and I'm not saying that like your life's shit until then. No, I'm just saying like there, you're here for a very, very big reason. And people who are here for a big, big reason, and it's a very important lifetime for them, like get started early, like God's like, let's get this person, or actually not even God, like your higher self. um we choose our charts, basically. I mean, we choose the karma we want to deal with on a soul level, right, when we enter each incarnation. So yeah, like you were like, let's expedite this. I want to, I don't want to like muck around. Like, I want to like kind of go through the tough stuff young. I can handle it. I'm strong enough. I'm advanced soul enough, or I'm as advanced of a soul to, advanced enough as a soul to deal with that. Bring it on. So you then get parents who replicate, right? That's that whole idea, is that you get parents who replicate the karma you're trying to work through. Fucking crazy. But yeah. So um there can be like emotional manipulation from the mother, all kinds of dark stuff. So it's really basically about like transforming yourself emotionally, getting past the blockages that you might have in terms of your self-esteem as well, especially when it comes to your beliefs, right? Because you have Chiron in Sag. So, there can be lots of like pain and shame around you believing what you believe in. But it's about learning to accept that you're actually, everyone else is fucking crazy. You're the one who's seeing it correctly, right? Um, so and your Neptune on your ascendant enables you to just have that sharp intuition to see through all the shit and BS of the world and people's true intentions. And your Mars in the eighth house also gives you this driven power into wanting to study esoteric, into it's also very sexual, I'll just tell you. but like it makes you really want to go deep into things, right? You're not someone you're a Libra, but you're a very deep Libra, and you're someone who really, really is here to, like you have the ability, which is cool because you have the ability to be very like some people they're just like only deep and they cannot do the small talk and the worldly stuff. Like you can do both, with your Jupiter and was in Gemini, where was it? Yeah. I mean that's gonna help you, right? Um, but then your Mercury is in Scorpio. So fuck. Yeah. Not fucking bad. Um, and Square Neptune, ooh, that one's hard. Can be hard. But there's another theme here is around paranoia, right? Paranoia and your idea versus the truth, right? Um, you might think so it's very, very important for you to learn the difference between intuition and imagination, right? So yeah. Last thing I'll say with the Pluto, you know, meditation, astrology, yoga, just anything that helps you kind of like gain awareness and because really like what can happen in the bad thing with the Pluto is that it can make you, and it's in the 11th house, so it can make you like overly dominant, um and the hurt, like hurt people, right? So um you're meant to go through this healing so that um you have this like massive ability to kind of like transform and regenerate and go through many different death rebirth transformations of your emotional self. So it's like makes someone very, very good at psychology, and but it's important to kind of like be to go back into the you know like the deeply buried difficult emotions. It can be very, very good to go into those. Can help you a lot. All right. So aside from that, the Chiron moon, just it's not so close, but basically just like same theme. But that that there are lots of like hidden talents you have, um, and they just have to be unleashed. But there's all, but like so, it's like there's like this wall. Imagine there's like a wall or a boulder or just like something that's blocking your path. But on the other side of that is just this very expansive, just amazing, like life purpose, right? But in order to get there, you have to learn the lessons of getting past that boulder, getting past that whatever, that trap or whatever it is, that wall. Getting like you have to learn to climb the wall. I don't know. So that's huge. And um I just think that you yeah you have yeah you can really be in both worlds, which is pretty freaking dope if you ask me. um Pretty dope. um hmm, okay. Hmm. So big, yeah, so there's lots of themes, but you could take on a lot from your mother. So useful exercise would be to look at, to really, really think, okay, like what, if it's your mother, like of course I told you it could be, it's one of the parents. There's like just pure, like there's this difficult, mostly difficult energy with, but it's not all difficult. And the other one, it's like you see, it's like all amazing, like trine, sextile, just very, very, yeah. So I think it'll be very obvious to you which one that is. Um, anyways, um, And then where's on the rose on the rose? Yeah. Um, so I think that, you know, you are here to understand that when you have a goal, you can't just be all dreamy and just think that's going to come true, and you can't defeat yourself, right? There's lots of like, so I think, and it's showing up in this life as a perfectionism, right? You cannot be perfect. You and don't compare yourself to other people because you don't know who other people are, right? Like you can see someone, think that they're all this, think they're all that, like, it's all bullshit, right? No one's fucking happy. I'm just joking. But, you know, people project images of what they, this stuff. I'm just really reinforcing it that the Virgo Mars person I've noticed can be very hard on themselves and kind of think that I'll just turn my camera on right now. Effort. Um, so the Virgo Mars person can think that they're like here and like everyone else is here when really it's the opposite, right? But the key is to not be too hard on yourself, right? That's and Virgo Mars often are. South Node and Capricorn, there can be current tendency to be like that. Um, and I get like witch vibes from your past lives. Perhaps you were a witch. Perhaps you were a witch. Black Moon conjunct South Node. With Vesta there. I kind of want to ask Haley about this. Well, it's that Vesta, Black Moon, and the South Node in the 12th house in Capricorn. I get what past life witch vibes from that. I mean, yeah, of course.
She's the daughter of Saturn. Stone in the sign of Capricorn, very stable.
Wait.
Um, so Vesta also represents what our soul deems most sacred. So this is on your past life energy, which is your past life gifts. It also is next Black Moon Lilith, meaning that your soul deems the Black Moon Lilith aspect of you as the most sacred. And Black Moon Lilith, in a nutshell, in three different archetypes, is our inner witch, our untamed raw sexuality, and our sovereignty. So absolutely 100%. You have a lot of gifts around this. Yeah, that's what I gotta say about that.
Thank you. So you just got very lucky. That was at my Moon Girl readings, Haley. I'm sure you know her, but yeah. So, anyways, that's super interesting stuff. So, that gives us clues, and I think that yeah, yeah, wow, it's very interesting. And I think on one way, in one way, you had your freedom taken from you. Um, and yeah, like this life is about like really regaining freedom. And okay, now I just got a huge hit. Okay. So I think that like, yeah, there is this past life witch mystic energy, and spirit is really trying to get you to tap back into that in this lifetime because you've been my computer. I still have to use my fucking hotspot, and it just killed the Zoom. Um, for 2 seconds though, so we're good. But I just hate when it does it. It's so flow killing. But anyways, so yeah, I think that on some level, you in this lifetime, spirit is just pushing you to get back to where you were, because that the passive trauma, I believe, really um you know made it hard for you to kind of go in to kind of like I yeah to truly like get back into spirituality, because there's an unconscious fear that it can lead to like something really bad. Maybe you were a witch that was burned at the stake. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of clients I have, a lot of my, it's not like I've never said that to a client where I see that in their chart, right? So, okay. So with that aside, with that aside, with that aside, one second, I need to look at one thing. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so basically, with all that said, it's very obvious what the key, what the key themes so far are. Now to have your ruling planet, Uranus, right? Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius in the first house. That is making that planet it's like it's gonna make you very, 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 very Aquarian. And basically, basically being different, and I see all these retrogrades, so it kind of backs up my claim um of just like meaning kind of being stripped from you, and kind of this life being like a almost like a do-over in certain ways. Um but basically, you know, being yourself and finding your own individuality and truly expressing that. So that goes with that moon opposite Saturn energy, right? That is of paramount importance. And you really just have to understand that and just go with it, really. So like the worst thing you could be doing is like you want to lean into like what Haley was talking about, like the like that really magical kind of part of your kind of past life energy, right? And you're trying to, you know, become more responsible because it's the sixth house north node, while also repairing some karma. So maybe by being of service, um, in your profession, or just just it's but in Cancer, you're trying to forge like a spiritual relationship with yourself, right? That's what it is. But there's different, you can, it's very easy to say that, but there's a real day-by-day application that is required. So for you, the moon ruling your north node in Sag, basically it's like speaking about how everything I spoke to in regards to your moon sign, that emotional growth, that death rebirth transformation, that that getting past the shyness and the potential issues you might have, sadness and isolation, all those things that can come up. Of course, you're a Sag moon at the end of the day, so you're still a Sag moon, right? And Sag moons are fucking resilient, and it's different, and you're still gonna be optimistic, and that's why I really want to do the follow, because I really want to see what effect Saturn has had with this opposition, right? Because there's no more moon sign more optimistic than Sag, so it's like it's not gonna just strip you of that, but it it will create some issues of it. Um, huh. Alright. One sec. Mm, mm. Okay. Sorry, I'm just I got a message I have to answer, family stuff. I'm just about done, and I'm just like putting my phone on silent. People are crazy. Joking. They're not. Okay. So, 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 yeah, like really, like the primary goal is being responsible, and having that spiritual, but you have a South Node Capricorn, so it's like being responsible doesn't necessarily come it's not hard. It's also that like you're trying to get more in touch with your feminine, and now going back to the Mars, right? So I was talking about the Mars. I'll go back to my face. So yeah, I mean there's a whole theme of just like you know um just really probing deep into kind of like the into like kind of the less talked about parts of life in general. Now, very interesting, in your chart, you have a kite aspect where, yeah, wow. Um, with lots of very important planets. And in a kite, I'll show you because I took out all the asteroids and everything that I wouldn't use. Well, actually, let me see. Um, yeah, because you're not, yeah, for aspect patterns, you know, the North Node, for example, um, it's not a planet, so it can't, it can, like, yeah, they have to like, like, reflect light, take light and reflect it back. So, anyways, you see here that you have Sun, trine Jupiter, right? Um, and then those are, you know, those are both trine um your ascendant slash Neptune, right? So that's the grand trine in air, right? So you have this amazing um gift when it comes to communication, um and putting yourself in other people's shoes, blah blah blah. Now, then what's very interesting is that the kite, you see the kite, it's well, the debate is it Pluto or the moon that's at the apex, right? Because I would think it would be Pluto because um we have 9, we have 11, we have 4, so it should be like kind of closer to 10, and yeah, Pluto 10. But then, you know, it could also be um hmm, it really could be either one. Or you could just look at it look at it as two separate kites, or just the fact that, you know, the energy of the moon conjunct Pluto, right? So yeah. But because 4 to 11 trine, I mean, Saturn, yeah, yeah. Wait, mm, and then is Mars, whatever. Um, So yeah, and then you see how it connects here and then there, right? It sextiles the sun. So the sun's involved. The sun is involved in combining, you know, it's at 9, so it sextiles Pluto, and then Pluto slash the moon, you know, whichever one, um sextiles Neptune slash ascendant. So heights are super interesting. And then do you have another? Mm, 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 yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So there's two. You have two air grand trines, but it's really just like you know, it's that the Saturn and the Jupiter both form them, and then you have a T square. It looks like, wow, yeah. T square with Mars, Pluto, and uh, uh, Jupiter. Wow. And it shoots out in Pisces. Interesting. Okay. So So I'm just looking at your aspect patterns because I'm about to, put all my other planning plans. So, anyways, let me. I just wanted to show you that, but so so with a kite, basically, it's energy. It's all really like good energy. I mean, you have the sun conjunct Jupiter is like the ultimate good luck in just like popularity, good fortune. It really it's a beautiful beautiful aspect to have. I mean, it is just very it kind of adds to that expansive kind of makes someone very generous. Um and usually sometimes there can be a little bit of self-indulgence, so it's important to not get complacent with things, get lazy. But yeah, and then of course, and then with the sun, it also has the trine, it trines a lot, right? It trines Jupiter, as I said, but then also Uranus, Neptune as well. Um, so we're dealing with one that's Neptune, and that just is about that gives you kind of like, but sometimes with these sextiles and trends, it's like things that come so natural to us that we don't even really realize. um but that's just about like just being very intuitive, creative, artistic, empathetic, all that stuff. um so yeah, it's real nice. And then the fact that sextiles, and does it say? Mm, um, I'm just thinking about something. For Okay, so it's perfect, and then that works, and then that works. So yeah, I mean, like, basically with a kite, the planet at the apex is really the most important. It's that opposition that is really kind of rocking things. So for you, it would be you know, like, because like the kite, basically you see how it's like all of these really really smooth aspects. Then you have your ascendant trine sun, and you talk about that. That's just like you know uh there's a it's very good. It kind of makes it so the way you the way that you appear, your personality, it's very very. I kind of talked about at the start. Very much on the same team as your is kind of your identity, and it's nice to have that. And then your ascendant sextiles your mini. I already talked about that mini grand trend, but they just all play off each other well. There's not like one saying this, one saying that. They're like, it's like three captains for like all going in the same direction. Um, so with the kite aspect, um, we basically see, the grand trine, then the two sextiles are all smooth aspects. But then what can happen with that, especially when you have Jupiter involved, is that there can be that complacency. Um, you have like there can be like that person who just like has all these talents, right? And I said like how it's in your karma to potentially have that, but then they don't take advantage of it, right? They don't act on it. The kite, the opposition forces one to act. It pushes one to act, not forces. So the planet at the apex, um, that is the planet that is under the most pressure to evolve and to change. Um, so if we think about it being like your sun and Pluto, we're like, all right, that's interesting. Um, you are. and it's opposite Jupiter slash Saturn, right? Um, it's very good for achievement. And basically, like, the opposition is the release, right? So, um, that's kind of where the magic happens. Um, so yeah, sometimes with this, there's like this energy of, like, constantly looking for, like, outward validation. And it's very much, it just you have so many talents, right? But, like, this kite is helping you actually put them to action. Um, so actually improve your life through them instead of just let them kind of be there. So yeah, like the focal point, as I said, um, it is, so because it's in Earth, um, or an air, the grand trine in the the focal point is in fire, right? It's your fire moon slash moon conjunct Pluto. So it's just further pushing the concept of all these talents, what Haley mentioned, what I've seen, but just the need to kind of, like, go forward and take the risks, right? Um, so the world can actually kind of get a taste of it, which is your North Node in the sixth house. 12th house North Node sometimes, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I said that earlier, like, they haven't allowed the world to, they've kept it for themselves. They've been too afraid to kind of show the world these secret powers, right? Um, so yeah. But there can be, like, lots of perfectionism also, like that kind of all or nothing attitude. So that's important with having the Virgo Mars. Um, but it's very linked to destiny. Um, so it's very, very, like, it just speaks to, like, lots of fate in your life coming, from that parental relationship, from those shadow, like, those death, rebirth, transformation kind of shadow areas that, where the growth is needed. So yeah, it's rare that I don't see these very often. Um, it's very rare. Um, so yeah, it's also very, quite volcanic, right? So but, like, you can have a volcano, I mean a good volcano, but not activate it. This pushes you to do that. Um, and it's a big time power source, um, for you to activate that air grand trend. Um, because you need a little bit of tension to push you, right? So, and a lot of your karma is about, showing your gifts. Well, yeah, like the goal is to get deep into your spiritual relationship with yourself, but also to share your talents with the world. But find that balance between inner and outer, work life and home life. Not home life, like home life slash inner life, right? So, anyways, moving forward, so that's cool. The T square is, so your Mars in Virgo is square Jupiter and Pluto. So Mars square Pluto is one of the most difficult aspects in astrology. Without a doubt, you don't have any difficult Venus. And you have, yeah, so you have three more hard aspects for me to go into. Well, and also I need to say that you have Moon square Mars, which can be difficult too. It can make one kind of like, especially with like the other energy with the Pluto there, and the opposition and being a fire already, it can make one quick tempered, and like you can just like get like reactions that come from like you just can get like really pissed off. So what I'm gonna say, it's so fucking important for you to work out. You need to work out. You need to have something physical that gets you through, like that gets rid of that excess energy. 70% of people are generators in human design of some sort, and they need to tire themselves out. I don't know what you are, but it's just like for you, especially with the Moon square Pluto, it's just like a lot of like the real difficult shit, like like uh like kind of like there can be some fucked up shit that comes out of your mouth, or that lots of frustration that comes out unless you find something that's like a physical outlet, right, or a creative outlet. But there's a big need to learn self control and channel all that energy into healthy things. Um, but yeah, Mars square Pluto. I talk about this a lot, and it squares Chiron. Um, you know, it is just like, you know, Mars in Virgo can be annoying as fuck, to be honest, but it's not always. But um, it's conjunct your vertex, which I find interesting, right? Because there's a big uh, there's lots of fate around I would say partnerships, but I would also say around your actions related to the eighth house, right? Um, your deep dives within, but also, when it comes to your when it comes to your relationships, I think that it's important to understand the power, like that Pluto can make someone, especially Venus and Scorpio, uh, like you have to have a healthy relationship with power, and not overpower partners and such. Now, so how to do that? Well, you need to find the good energy of this Mars square Pluto, because self control can be really difficult, especially with the Moon one. It can also, it's like I've seen this one linked to like abuse. Um, so yeah, just being careful in that respect as well. Um, but the energy itself, it's like just a fucking it's a fucking volcano, and yeah. So sweat that shit out. And um you just feel very intensely, you can get frustrated, and then um just explode, and then you might not even know where it's coming from. So yeah. And then with Chiron, I think that T square right there is very interesting, right? Because the Mars and Chiron, here we're talking about just pain to your ability of feeling like I can do it, right? Um, and difficulty with being assertive. So it could come from the early childhood stuff of like thinking that whatever you do will be or ask for will be met with like anger or whatever, right? With criticism. Um, so yeah, it's important to also know that like you can be very easily hurt, um, and that you have to like really like find your way of doing things. And goes back to what I was saying about the individuation, right? Um, so yeah, like mastering this energy, right? Because like also like by itself, Mars in Virgo can be very much, like I said, very perfectionist, and it can be its own worst enemy. And also in relationships, it can like of any sort, it can like call people out, like they notice all, like it makes you really analytical, you notice all the small things, which is a gift, but it can be a curse when if you haven't gotten past your tendency to be critical towards yourself, then you might push that onto other people. So, others can really push your buttons easily. So it's about like developing tact and charm. Now you do have a grand trine air, which gives you that ability to put yourself in other people's shoes and to think of like how this person would think, like and communicate really, really well, right? So you have that talent. Um, but still, Mars and Virgo at its worst can be petty, but because it's the only Earth, um, I think that it could actually be very, very necessary in your chart, honestly. Um, because it's not with other energy like it. So um, it actually is, and the best thing is that your North Node's in the sixth house, the house of Virgo. So by leaning in, it's really like, and this is what I'm talking about with the patterns I see. Vertex conjunct Mars, right? So Vertex is like a point of fate, doorway to higher realization in Virgo, and then your North Node's in the sixth house, house of Virgo. So literally, that's two different ways, like, of saying the same thing, right? And then, hey, Esme, here's Esme. So she heard cancer, but she's a cancer, so she came over and Esme, I do this sometimes. She always tells me, look at something in this chart. Esme, tell me like what I need to, like if there's anything you see. Esme, look over here. Is it anything? Okay, you look up at the Venus. Okay, yeah, I haven't talked about that yet. Um, good job, Esme. So yeah, basically like you see that in essence you need to forge that spiritual relationship with yourself, but it goes through you're like getting deep into your own potential for perfectionism and self-limiting beliefs, and not putting that on other people, and having like a daily routine that also meets your emotional, spiritual, physical, every type of need, right? So while to some people it may be just like whatever, like it might not be a huge deal to work out and to journal and whatever it is for you, it's a fucking massive deal. Sixth house North Node. It's like massive deal to have that set. To have a daily routine that's really good. So I think like a rare chart where Mars and Virgo, I think is a really, really good thing, honestly. Um, but that doesn't help like stop that it is, square. Um, it's forming a T square, and it's at the apex of it, meaning that it shoots out into Pisces, the sign of unconditional love, in the second house, which is the house of your values. And this goes back, and you see how everything comes full center about you creating a spiritually based um, sense of values. So like you're a Libra, so Libras can have difficulty when a decision comes up, like being like, oh, they can have difficulties with boundaries and difficulties like kind of very indecisive, right? So for you, it's really important, based on your Piscean Neptunian spirituality, to have a second house set of values that you basically like live your life based on these, which is kind of similar to like the whole beliefs thing, right? It's different, but um, you know, um, that's how this is resolved, right? Um, Now Mars in as we stop. Uh Mars and Jupiter, it pushes you to really have to like, so there's a lot of self-discipline that's needed, right? Because there can be lots of impulsiveness, um, or impulsivity, right? That's all over your chart, impulsivity. So I think that, and then you could even make the case, Mars square Saturn, right? I mean, it's probably too far, but still, that could just be a lot. Like a lot of my most successful clients have Mars square Saturn, right? Um, because it makes them work really, really hard until the Saturn return and grow up really, really quickly. But then, you know, Saturn return comes and the difficult energy goes away. I've noticed that sometimes, a lot of times, it's before that if they've taken a spiritual path. And yeah, they become really, really successful because like the bullshit goes away and they're left with that determination and grit. So overall, you see how this is all playing out, like the T-square resolution point, play point. It's it's also your part of fortune, so that's like your flow state, right? It's like when you at your best, and it's right on my sun, by the way, and my Mercury. Well, degree away, but it's at the very last degree of the zodiac, like 29.41 Pisces. So to me, in the second house, that's reaffirming the need, like you are at your best, you're your happiest, you find your joy, when you have a very solid foundation that's you. You're not, you because Mars, the eighth house, sometimes there can be a push to potentially like rely too much on other people, right? But it's really, really, really about you and the highest level of spirituality. So it goes back to the spiritual relationship with yourself. Lots of introversion. But yeah, that's the balance in your chart is like all that ninth house Sag energy, um, with this need. And that's how I know you're an advanced soul is that you don't have you barely have, and I'll talk as you know I'll talk about that. Yeah, she keeps reminding me about the Venus, but I'll get into the water part of your chart, which you actually have some water, but yeah, so that's very, very important. And on that point, um so Mercury in Scorpio, you dig deep, you dig deep. You're again, I lost the reception again, but did it switch? No, it's still on there. Whatever. So yeah, now kind of moving towards, okay, so Mercury, in Scorpio, um I think this, like you just have like a very deep probing mind. um there's a big need also for you to like for all this esoteric knowledge, and it relates to your career and to your dharma, right? You really want to go beneath the surface and just just really commit to what you're doing, like have like a deep commitment and loyalty and respect and just like meaning for what you're doing. And you'll be an intense communicator about more deep subjects. Now, the square with Neptune, which is I think the last of the hard aspects I'll go into, that's a difficult one because what happens is that it can make you just see shit completely different. And I've seen this in your chart already. Right? So basically people who have this 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 placement, they can they can have the tendency to, how do you say this? Um like there's a distorted view of reality, right? My girlfriend who does like she'll do this all the time where she just won't see things correctly, you know? And it really takes a lot of practice to understand, and having like, that friend or that person you can rely on to give you like to not be deceived. Um but really it's like just like the very, very, very like high abstract type things can come really easily to you, but then like the very basic forms of communication can be difficult, like someone, let's say you have a love interest, they say like what's up, you might like, just a random example, like you might just like take that like oh no, like like just completely different, right? um so with Mercury squaring Neptune, I think that there's a big need to to understand that when that's integrated, that is magic. It's literally magic, right? Magicians uh have that. So but it can, yeah, it has that very strange effect on the mind where um, yeah, you see things, from that very different lens, right? So it can really harm relationships, and you can feel very misunderstood, and people can also misunderstand, like truly misunderstand you, and you can also really misunderstand others. So you see how difficult that could be. Um, but also people who have this sometimes can be liars. Sometimes they can be lied to. Um, Master of illusions, right? Um, but it can be very good for like being, an entertainer. Mercury, Neptune, and any, yeah. But like, so I think it's really good for creativity, but then in close relationships, it's just like, you have to keep it simple. Like, yeah, it can just like literally like Exhibit A. Like my girlfriend, like me and Haley are like siblings. She visited me in San Francisco, no problem. Before I came here, my girlfriend was like convinced because of like, this is the best example, because of like one like stupid, like it wasn't even stupid, it was just like literally a comment on Haley's Instagram where I said you are my heart emoji. Like she took that and literally created a scenario in her head that me and Haley slept together, which never obviously happened, right? So like you see how wild that is, like she literally like talked to us when we were there, like she knows everything that happened, like like but still it's that distortion, so it's really like important to look at the factual and to have that awareness, because she still rejects, my girlfriend still I think rejects that, and hasn't like really like looked into it, and been able to be like, maybe that's just a square. So having that awareness is very important. Um, but yeah, like yeah. So very sensitive to rejection, criticism also. So it's really important to find like other kind of spiritual type people and artistic people to be around. And yeah, just stay away from anything that can exasperate kind of these sensitivities, any kind of like gossiping, lying, fraud, you know uh drugs, like that, cults, whatever, just anything that's extreme in that type of way. Okay, so with that said, you can't you can use this aspect and it can become a superpower where your mind just becomes, because you have the Venus conjunct um Mercury, which is beautiful, and it adds a lot of softness to that scorpionic intensity, and you can express yourself in a very loving manner. You'll love to talk to people, which is very important because the Scorpio can sometimes, energy and Mercury can sometimes make the person not want to do that. Um, and it actually makes you a good listener, right? So that's really, really important. And already, like Scorpio and Mercury, they do like to kind of take in the information, right, and analyze, and they're kind of like the natural psychologists. So, and Ceres being there too, as I was actually talking about a little bit before, but that kind of adds that as well. It's like those three together. Um, you're very nurtured by this real depth, right? You're nurtured by that, and you want your career to reflect it. But Venus and Scorpio, um, you know, at that point, it goes back to the power thing, right? We talked about, because Pluto rules your Venus, so there's no hard aspects, so it's just that conjunction with Mercury. But I mean, it does square your descendant, so that's really important. And yeah, I'll talk about that in a sec. But it's with theories. So basically, like your ability to kind of express love and affection is really in sync with kind of that series nurturing nature. Um, so you're really able to kind of give love and compassion, and it's really good to have that. Um, but yeah, important to not give more than you receive, which is a classic Libra trait, right? So watch out for that. Um, there's more I could say that, but yeah. Um, so with the Venus and Scorpio, like, you just have to watch out to not let like the kind of like low vibe Scorpio enter your relationships. Because there's no hard aspect to your Venus though, that's really good. But because it's ruled by Pluto, which is conjunct your moon, um, that whole motherly kind of ancestral stuff, like that will get reflected in your love life if it's not overcome, whatever that is. So if there is issues in your love life, you can think about, okay, how is this, like maybe I need to go back into the past and do shadow work around something here. Okay. But yeah, overall Venus, like, yeah. So the fact that so Venus in Scorpio, you're very, very loyal. You value your love language is just intensity, two souls becoming one. It's really, really like a soulmate or nothing type vibe. Um, it's in a 10th house, so it's really, really good for your professional life. But it can make you also very perfectionist in your career. And yeah, like you want to be able to share your life at the deepest possible level with your partner. So also very, very sexual, lots of intensity there. But with the Mars energy, you know, you have to watch out for like having like this unexpected this like unconscious thought of like the perfect partner, and like no one's ever good enough, because that's something that can really happen a lot. Um, so the fact that squares, so just love in general, like the Sag moon unlocked, right? You need freedom. You need someone who's not going to exasperate, push forward like that. The oppositions. Also, I didn't really talk about like moon opposing Jupiter. Um, that just goes more in like that kind of like self-indulgent potential, some people with that lack of motivation. But I did talk about that, and it was part of the kite, right? So it's like, yeah, I did talk about that. So that's actually like like kind of what pushes you to kind of like actually like make those moves. The Pluto on the moon definitely pushes you too. So yeah, yeah, definitely a major push. That's why you're 23 this year, and you're getting a reading from me. So you're obviously ahead of your age. Um, so the square descendant is in Leo, so that's an energy that you're attracted to. That's an energy that kind of represents others and has cusp. Now the fact that your Venus squares the ascendant is it's emblematic of the fact that um I didn't pick my nose. I just had like a scratch inside, I swear. It's emblematic to the fact that you there that basically like your love needs can be at odds with, towards ascendant also, obviously, right? With your need for personal growth and individualization, because Scorpio it can be very possessive. It really wants to, so it's really important that in relationships that you don't have relationships that take you away from that time alone that you need, and that spirituality, and that forming of the spiritual relationship with yourself. So okay, you have Pallas on your sun. So, and it's in Libra. So, yeah, just being able to see kind of like the both sides of the story, the diplomat, all that stuff. Just being able to see the big picture. Um, just you're a natural philosopher, and on your sun, it just makes you like the strategist. It makes you the person who's like the third eye, the strategist, person who thinks 10 steps ahead, and the Scorpio Mercury adds to that. So that's really cool. And then the Mars and Virgo adds that too. So yeah. um so overall, like with love, um what the perfect partner does not exist. Important to know that. And I think that you could easily attract like very like assertive and even aggressive people, so you have to watch out for that. Um, so you know, you're here to like really use your assertiveness to get the things you want in life, right? With the vertex and Mars. Um, and you know, you're here to really work on kind of like leadership skills and just new beginnings, fresh starts. So and everything I talked about, the individualization. So yeah, like overall, I think that's the balance that needs to be found in relationships. Um, is that balance of freedom and then Scorpio, which is like give me all of you, like just like complete just two souls coming together. So that's the kind of like the need there. So yeah, overall, um, I think that's dope. You have Palace on your sun, because that that would play a lot into your life, and you're definitely like someone who can see a few steps ahead. So yeah, there can be some trauma. Some trauma like felt in groups of friends. There can be, so you have to watch out for like power tripping with your friends. And it's really important for you to be parts of groups of friends or just groups in general, organizations that don't push forward this past life conditioning that you're trying to get through. Investa, as Haley was talking about, Capricorn, just really, really ambitious, able to succeed, work hard towards what you really believe in. 12th house, it's like that commitment to that spiritual way of life. And yeah, it's awesome. And wanting to like share your findings with other people. And you know, Black Moon Lilith, like in the 12th, just the kind of thing like Haley talked about it, but um, also just like the kind of lower vibe of Capricorn, um, just taking like 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 being a control freak potentially. It's not a planet, it's just like a potential. Um, and not knowing like when you need to let go of different people, different things, which is really important. So also, yeah, just like needing to control it. Yeah, really just needing to control um and and also take responsibility. Um, yeah, like because there can be like that need to be in charge and just like learning to like let go of that and like you know, Cancer, your North Node, right? Also it can be um, just yeah, so just like it comes down to control and power, which is like through that Moon Pluto conjunction. So uh, with the love stuff, uh Aquarius, Juno, basically you're right in the first house, you're right, like it just adds to the idea that you need that real one-on-one, like you're not one-on-one, you need that real experience of a relationship that is very deep Scorpio, but has tons of freedom for you to be your own person. You'd be attracted to someone who's you know who has their own life, who's not going to be super clingy to you, but then there's a deep emotional kind of like um you know something that holds you together emotionally, but it can also be very, very kind of like futuristic. But you need freedom. So my post on from like it was maybe like 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, the Aquarian relationship, make sure you read that because it's really linked to like kind of the energy I see here. Um, but yeah, like in the wrong kind of relationship, you can get really, really rebellious. And it's not going to be a traditional relationship that's going to work for you. Um, so yeah. Um, yeah, and just basically, yeah, yeah. I talk about Uranus, just how that can make one kind of eccentric and just like they're here to express themselves in their own unique way, and they, it's a big part of your personality. And Neptune also in the first house, like there can also be like a lack of boundaries between others and yourself. And there can be kind of like a vagueness to your self-expression. So that's difficult, potentially. But yeah, like I said, like it's all about like creating that kind of fantasy world of your own. So just rounding out everything. So Saturn and Jupiter in the fifth in Gemini. Jupiter, in Gemini, obviously it gives you the gift of gab that I've talked about. Really good for communication, really good for talking in general. Saturn, in the fifth, they kind of offset each other. It can push children off till like after the Saturn return, but also Saturn fifth house can be kind of like a buzzkill. The person doesn't have fun at the party, but then Jupiter fifth house is the opposite. So maybe there's different situations. And perhaps, one thing I noticed with Saturn the fifth is that it can be people who are able to take the things that they do for fun and make it their job. Like let's say you're in astrology and it's a 0 degree Saturn. So, um that's speaking to like uh lots of new karma in this lifetime, like a new karmic chapter. Um would you add it would you add anything about a 0 degree Saturn? Just like a new 0 degree Saturn, like a new karmic chapter. Yeah. In this incarnation, yeah, it's like a brand new lesson because it's like very linked to like the spiritual relationship with herself.
What ends up happening is we naturally embody the shadow of Saturn, and we want to linearly embody the light aspects of Saturn. So,
You got lucky again. Um, yeah. So that's interesting. Very interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, but yeah, I mean, your power of fortune being where it is, it says it all. You're really here to regain that spirituality that sadly got taken away from you in past lives. I'm sure if you got a second reading, it'd say the same thing. And yeah, and then there's one thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about also, and then I want to look at the stars, of course. I pretty much I talked about this. Let me just go through everything. Talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about that. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Um, so I want to just look in my notes for one thing. Um, I know that there's something I'm forgetting that's very minor. Not minor. It's just something that I mean, sometimes I just like to uh, like just like I don't really open my notes that often. But okay. Where is it? Okay, I already said that. It's with your Mars in the eighth house. Um, yeah, so okay, blah 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 blah. So yeah, boost sexuality. It's one of the most potent placements of Mars. Yeah, because it's the co-ruler of Scorpio, of course. Um, but yeah, it can also, oh yeah, so it can bring near death experiences or just so you have to, so having Mars square Pluto, like you have to not like chill on the risks because like literally like chill on the risks because you can be very like someone who takes way too many risks. Like I'm talking physical, like jumping off a ramp or something like that. Like be careful. I'm not saying anything bad's gonna happen. I'm just saying, just know that. um, okay, I talked about the occult. Um, active sex life, blah blah blah. I talked about that. Really important. Sex is very important for them for recharging and letting go of accumulated negativity. They will prefer a more aggressive, yeah, whatever, type, whatever. I just don't like talking about sex with female clients that much unless I have to. Um, okay, what is it? Yeah, just like really passionate relationships and very karmic relationships. Um, yeah, and it just adds more of that intense obsessive energy, but that also the potential for like jealousy. And so it can be really good for like money, for like just going and getting money. Um, but also for like people. So, control, it goes back to Black and Loaf in Capricorn, control, you know? So the goal is to have that spiritual relationship with yourself where you don't feel like you need to control other people. Okay, just about done. Let me just see if I see anything here. Okay. So, okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So you have Jupiter like quite close, but not super like not on Aldebaran. But that's just like incredible, and it's conjunct Union. Um, so I mean, I think that just feels like lots of luck and expansion in that realm relationship. So I'll go. I'm just like getting all these in my head. Okay. Mhm. You definitely are not someone who will just like take shit in relationships. Like, you definitely will have your own back and be very, very strong. Aphrodite conjunct Mars. You see that one. Um, and let's see. And then what's this? Oh, and then Zosman conjunct Mars. That's like very linked like uh just going like astrology, spiritual, like numerology, spirituality. It's anything that goes deeper, you're very linked to. um and yeah. um Ooh. Oh, never mind. Wait. Okay, never mind. I already talked about that. I have to like stare and see all these numbers that are so stuck together. Mhm. So yeah, you could work really well with herbs, and also like poetry could be something that could be very good for you. There's definitely some mystical energy there, and that's like in respect to career. Um, yeah, so you have, wow, Fortuna and Fama both conjunct your moon. That's like potential for fame, huh? If they're both like right on her moon. I mean, those are two asteroids that are related to fame. So I mean, they're right on your moon, both of them. That's kind of interesting. I mean, that's interesting, right? Um, but then what is the yeah. So, but then also, yeah, just like there could be there could, just like I said before, there could be trauma um that um needs to be worked through. Um Antares conjunct Pluto. We'll go into that in a little bit. I just want to go through all of them. Okay. Um so yeah. Okay. And what's this? Yeah, and then Industria conjunct Pluto. I mean, I don't know. I don't see those ones that often, so have all those pop up is very interesting. Um, so okay, so I was gonna go into yeah. So let me pull it up. So Aldebaran is like maybe the best star with Regulus. It's one of the four world stars. But you Spica, you can add that in there. There's like the five best, the five stars that are like the most important. And Jupiter, with Aldebaran, it's not smack on there, but it just can bring recognition, glory, um, even if you didn't like earn it yourself. Um, but unless you continue like to pursue your life on that kind of conscious path, everything can be lost. And it can create laziness on a negative side. So it's like people can get very lucky who have this, but if they, run their luck too far, then it's not good. And they can lose everything. I don't know what to make out of Antares with Pluto. I just know that, it's kind of giving you more of that real strong kind of masculine energy. And just very important for you to have your friends be very sensitive and to not have like being in friend groups or whatever where you feel like you have to kind of try to dominate or whatever, like that's not good for you. So let me just see one thing. Mhm. So then opposite last one I'll talk about Aphrodite and Mars together. You could be the opposite sex can find you very attractive, very beautiful. Aphrodite is like kind of princess energy, like just beauty in general. And you also could be really attracted to like I said this earlier, to someone that has kind of that fiery energy. Um, like it could be like Aries with Mars, right? That's like some Aries. And yeah, just like really, really energetic and passionate when it comes to love. So aside from that, and I once again failed at my mission to standard. Let's see how long I did. Yep, 2 hours again, 2 hours four. But it was a great reading, and thank you for being patient. And let me know about about doing the other one. And ciao, 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 ciao. Bye bye.